Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Amake and I have a commentary today about the storyline that's been proposed so far for Gotham Knights. Before we jump in though, I want to go ahead and ask your support. If you enjoy the content, feel free to hit the like button or subscribe, join the Video Game Fight School community. And if you don't like it, hit the dislike button as well. It will tell me how to better make videos to serve you in this community. Now let's jump in. So just a few seconds ago from when I'm actually making this video, it was that intense that I thought about it and I hit the record button. I basically thought about a line that Patrick Redding made in this particular reveal of the Gotham Knights. In fact, this is where, Batgirl is driving into the story mission. She's trying to go deal with Mr. Freeze. And Patrick Redding basically is talking about, some of the abilities, and he mentions something about Robin. And as we're watching the gameplay, he basically, is saying, we have another person coming in. Maybe he doesn't say it, but somebody joins the session. He's showing the multiplayer capabilities. And then he mentions that Robin has now taken advantage of the Justice League's short-range teleporting system and is now able to use it. Now, this must have caught the ears of some other people in the community, or maybe it was just like, maybe Batman already had members of the Justice League. And to be very honest, I've missed it all this long. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. Maybe I need to watch more Gotham Knights content in order to be able to hear more people talk about it. But I can't sit here and just say that that does not add a huge problem, or at least a large layer of complexity to the story in question. And that story is, how in the world is the Gotham Knights game getting any kind of Justice League, I would say, content or even allusion being added to it? And so this is where I think that we probably need to backtrack and say, it seems like this story is going to be a lot more, complex than we were envisioning in the first place. Because if you think about it, I mean, the Injustice, game basically showcases Batman and the Justice League. Now I get it. Gotham Knights is trying to use a different timeline, but how are we to reconcile the Gotham Knights timeline with all of these characters that do make up the Justice League if Batman has access to that technology? Having dealt with the Justice League for a while, are the Justice League members still alive? Are they somewhere? Now, I'm making this video and talking about these things because if you think about it, right, one of the big issues that did come up in terms of questions with Gotham Knights, or Arkham Knights, sorry, I mixed my games up there, was, where was Jason Todd in Arkham Asylum? Was he, there? What was when Batman was actually exploring the asylum and trying to take down the Joker? Where was he? So because, that story came up in Arkham Knight, so people were looking and saying, Batman has been dealing with Joker, and the context, how did, somebody not remember that they were going to incorporate this entire storyline? And it seemed like it was a question that was left unanswered. In my opinion, I think this might be the question that will be left unanswered if we kind of just take this storyline at face value, because the developers have decided to basically switch things up, man. I mean, I'm talking switch things up in a very intense way, that talking about basically the Justice League, or even alluding to some of their technology here, will at least require some explanation. So I'm not saying that they're not going to explain this. I mean, obviously, nobody knows the total story that's outside of the writers and perhaps the development team, and maybe, I don't know, some people on the higher ups who are making the decisions. But at the end of the day, it will leave questions unanswered if they don't address this. And also, I think it has a lot of potential to make fans really excited if they're actually going to address this in some form or the other. So imagine, and this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is just me saying, imagine if they were to take this and actually run with it. If they were to just kind of maybe put a loop there, and this may even connect to Warner Brothers Games Montreal's next entry, because like we have heard from one of the developers in that studio, they are working on 2 different games. If you guys haven't heard the podcast, there's a podcast where one of the developers in Warner Brothers Games Montreal was interviewed a few years ago, actually. It's not something new. And he said that they were working on 2 IPs. He basically corrected the guy that was doing the podcast and said, you're working on 2 titles. Now, nobody knows where the second title is, what the progress of it is. But one thing that studios usually do is, even though they may primarily focus on one project, they usually have, someone who's like a game director or a creative director type person take on, another project with a small team and start developing that project, developing the prototype, and, basically kind of working on it. And then when they are done shipping the first game, if that prototype and that game is looking like something that they can flesh out, or something that they have enough of the resources to be able to hire or build a team around, then they can go with it. So who knows, maybe that game might have a tie-in to this particular Gotham Knights game, but still be its own unique thing. And I'm not saying it's a Justice League game, but it'll be really interesting to see how this storyline is explained. And again, I think one thing that a lot of gamers would really love to see is a Justice League style game. It seems like Rocksteady decided to really move very far away from that pattern. I don't know why. I could provide some kind of an explanation, to be very frank. It's out there. You could say, well, maybe, they were looking for a game that could engage multiplayer in, because if you look at the way the Suicide Squad game, was revealed, I think it really does have an emphasis on multiplayer, kind of co-op, level of play, because a lot of those games, there is some level of replayability and continuity with it, and many studios seem like they want to leverage that in their games to be able to continuously in a sense support it and maybe even monetize it, because you want your favorite studios or studios who make games that you like to be open, but the only I would say strong point that Rocksteady must bring in that game is definitely their their story writing and their narrative perspective. But who knows what Warner Brothers Games Montreal's actually got on in quotes the back burner, or maybe for the future regarding this particular franchise, because I don't know, man. I don't think this is a very small thing just to say, oh yeah, by the way, one of the Gotham Knights has, some technology that belongs to the, to the Justice League. Because if Batman is really missing, or if he does disappear, the only explanation that can actually resolve this without bringing the Justice League into this, or having to allude to them or tie or connect them to another game, is that you're going to bring Batman out of, in quote, hiding, or out of wherever the heck he is presumed to be dead in or at. That way Batman's like back and be like, all right, Robin, yeah, this is how you can fine tune this new system and teleport better, because Robin's not just going to be rocking that kind of, high end technology that, the Justice League probably used for all kinds of crazy missions, which is really interesting too. I mean, I can go on and on about this, because what universe even are they going to be able to juxtapose all these storylines? This is insane. It's about to make my mind, basically just, I don't know. It kind of got me very shocked to think that we have not necessarily poured forth a lot of attention towards this particular thing that was mentioned in the reveal trailer. But it's really interesting, though. I mean, there seems to be a lot of emphasis on different weird technologies in the game. I mean, even with the Mr. Freeze reveal, you could already see that he's got some weird device, gadget thing that's about to freeze all of Gotham by changing the, the weather. So, I mean, who knows? We may be seeing some other really outlandish stuff that it may seem like that Justice League technology is just a little Lego piece, compared to some of the stuff that we might see. But I'm going to hold my horses. I think what the community might need right now, and immediately, is more information, even more gameplay or more videos or something just like, hey, out of the blue, that really does get fans talking and excited. I think this is definitely going to really provide some more context, answer a few more questions, and, keep the community excited. But I'll get out of your hair right now. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Justice League mentioned in the Gotham Knights, or alluded to in the Gotham Knights. What do you think? Talk to y'all soon. Peace out.